So, good morning, friends. A hearty welcome to the next edition of the VDMA CEO's Thought Leadership Series, and a pleasure for us to welcome Mr. Rashmikant Joshi, Managing Director of Festo India. Mr. Joshi, after completing his Bachelor of Engineering in Mechanical Engineering from Gujarat University, went to Germany to pursue his master's degree in Design Engineering. During the education at Technical University, he worked as teaching assistant in the Department of Materials Science. He also received Master of Business Administration degree from Esslingen University of Applied Science in Germany. Friends, Mr. Joshi worked at Berlin Steel Plant as maintenance engineer before joining Festo in 1990. Since 2002, he is the managing director leading Festo's business in South Asian countries. So, a hearty welcome to you, Mr. Joshi, at this edition of the VDMA CEO's Thought Leadership Series. Mr. Joshi, now COVID has had a huge impact on, I think, global economy, the way business is done. In fact, it has impacted 213 countries, and almost 27 million people have been infected due to COVID. People call it the black swan of 2020 because I think for the first time, if you look, the supply, the demand, as well as the workforce, all have been impacted, and not only in one region, but globally, one could say. So, Mr. Joshi, let us begin with, I would like to ask you, what has been the impact of COVID at Festo in India and also at your head office in Germany, Mr. Joshi?
Well, good morning, Mr. Nath. Yes, I think COVID-19 impact has been more or less similar in all kind of industries. Right. I think we should look at impact on various aspects. I believe the impact has been very huge impact if we think of the way business is done. If we speak about we being in the business of industrial automation, for instance, the way we do business is to go to customer, to have one-on-one meeting, face-to-face meeting, to discuss applications, to go to the shop floor, where the action is, to understand their challenges, customers' challenges, and discuss, of course, automation solutions. Good amount of our time is generally spent traveling to customer every time, because face-to-face meetings on shop floor, very important. Yeah. But now if we look at what safety requirements are preferred by everyone, right, it's very uncommon that customers prefer having suppliers in their premises. Yeah. So meeting in person or access to shop floor is very restricted. And what has happened in the meantime is that we all have learned to live with virtual meetings, right? Use of digital media. Right. So I think this is a new normal, and we do have now more and more. So the way we do business today is having meetings, even trainings, all through virtual media. But I think we are all hopeful that this time will get over, and finally, again, we will start visiting customers more and more. Also, easier access to the shop floor where the action is. But what will happen, to my opinion, finally, there will be a mixed model. So more of the meetings through media, the digital media, right, and as and when required, there will be, of course, also visit to the manufacturing facility. Right. This will be the model, I believe. Right. And this really means a huge impact, practically. Right. But also, let us look at what happens. The entire material movement has massively impacted. If you think of Well, everything is now getting delayed. So we have to really plan the time, starting from, for instance, quarantine requirements in customs, or even when the material arrives here at our stores, or even on the shop floor, material movement from one location to another location. Everything has got impacted.
Right.
Even looking at our capacity utilization because of the social distancing norms, even on shop floor, for instance, especially in assembly area.
Right.
The capacity utilization has changed. Looking at perhaps positively, all this will also have opportunity in a positive way for more automation in the business.
Absolutely. Right.
Well, this is about how we do business impact and some of the examples, but also economically, if we really look at most of our customers worldwide have suffered due to COVID-19, and we of course um, feel it because that has impact also on our business. But at the same time, there are certain industries, for instance, let us say life tech, we call it medical equipment, laboratory equipment, biopharma industries. They are on growth path. They are all growing, you know.
Right.
But also industries such as electronic and light assembly, food and packaging, process industries are doing well.
Right.
So
Right.
it's a mixed picture. And
Right.
let me tell you, this is more or less same worldwide.
Right.
Um, if we talk about geography,
Right.
India has been behind other countries. So we started suffering a little later compared to other parts.
Right.
Well, first of all, India started with low demand era, if you remember.
Yes.
Before COVID, there was a low demand issue in India. And then the pandemic struck the world. And then we came up with prolonged lockdown, nearly 8 weeks
Right.
lockdown. And then we had typical Indian issue of mass migration of workers and so this was real historical. And this also made many industries start a little late. And there
Right.
are still some who are yet to really gear up fully.
Right.
So yes, impact is huge in all aspects of COVID-19.
Oh, right, right. Mr. Joshi, the Festo is a very good example of a mid-sized German company, and it has had a very inspiring journey in India. So I just wanted to request you if you could take us briefly through the journey of Festo in India.
Thank you for asking this question. I think this is indeed, I myself am very, very excited about Festo's journey in India. Very interesting story. Well, Festo has a very long history
Right,
and relationship with India.
right,
You'll be surprised to know that Festo set up its first subsidiary outside Europe in India.
wow, that's very nice.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Well, it was joint venture to manufacture electrical motors,
Right,
and we, of course, were technical partner in this joint venture. Later, in 1986, we set up manufacturing unit in Bangalore to manufacture automation products. Um, and if you really look at this was it was a plan economy time, if you
yes,
remember, before 1991 when the country
that's
opened
right.
up. So the market was pretty small, and we started with pneumatics. Of course, today we do pneumatics, we do electrics, automation with all kind of technologies. In those days, it was just pneumatics, and pneumatics in India was not that much known. So the market was very small. And now for us, the challenge was how do we grow?
Right,
Do we just steal from others, which is anyway not much?
right,
So what we did is we said the best is first to create demand. How do you create demand? You create
right.
demand by training the market. So
Okay,
we started training the market, training our customers how to automate using pneumatics.
Okay.
Well, we used to go, I still remember, we used to go to industries and simple applications as simple as just clamping, how to clamp the pneumatics. We used to do this. So training the market, that was one. And the other one was to do simple movements, simple application. So we created the market, we expanded the market in India.
Right.
And I can claim today that in over last decades, Festo really contributed hugely in expanding the size of the pneumatics market in India. On the other hand, having got manufacturing facility in India, we also used this capacity to start exporting products to Germany. So for us, Make in India started much earlier, in 80s and 90s. Right. And what we did is we continuously invested and reinvested. We expanded our manufacturing facility, and we also expanded our market reach. And I'm very proud to say today a good part of our manufacturing capacity is catering to the world requirement.
Very good.
On the other side, if you look at the market, what we did is we kept on introducing the latest technologies and products in India. We didn't look at what was the level of technology in India. We helped the technology rise by introducing products. To give an example, I remember in early 90s, it was very typical what Festo introduced at Hanover exhibition, the new launch, new products,
right.
Came to India maybe in 2 years.
Okay.
So the first application,
Wow.
2 years delayed. Right. But soon, because of our efforts in Indian market, we're very happy to see that a product or technology introduced by Festo at Hanover exhibition was already on the machine of a customer in India.
Very good.
So we were at times ahead of the world in India. So this really helped us. And of course, needless to say, training our own people and our own employees, helping our customers to be successful in their business, rapidly made Festo grow and grow into the market leader position.
Right. In fact, Mr. Joshi, I think Festo would be a very good example of the slogan of our present government, talking about vocal for local and go global. I think their Festo is really a good example of how it can really be implemented. And Mr. Joshi, also with the government's endeavor, now there is what COVID has taught is the supply chain risks, and one is looking how to mitigate the supply chain risks or the supply chain disruptions, as well as the government is trying to attract foreign direct investments coming to India. So my question to you, Mr. Joshi, is do you feel that COVID would lead to more investments coming to India? And looking at the scenario at Festo, are you also looking to further expand your operations in India?
Okay, so you're asking me in two ways. One is about in general scenario
about India, yes.
And then about Festo.
Right.
Well, I have a very strong opinion about this. I don't think India ever needed COVID situation to have opportunities. Make in India, or even we have Atmanirbhar or Vocal for Local. All these are good things. The government is trying to attempt to boost the local economy and also increase the demand in India and somehow to cater to the world demand.
Right.
And government, we all know, whether the present government, but also previous governments, they always have been really trying very hard to attract FDIs, foreign direct investments, also in manufacturing sector, not only in IT.
Right.
For local demand and for global demand.
Right.
I think India has always been an attractive destination for manufacturing industries since long time. You ask anybody outside India, they all respect India very highly, also Indian market and opportunities.
Right.
If we look at India, of course, it's a huge local market.
Right.
We also have very well trained and educated workforce. We have good natural resources. We use English very widely.
Yeah.
We are a democratic country, stable economy. I mean, all ingredients are there.
Right.
So I believe the time is not only now, time has always been there for us
Right.
to have opportunities. If we look back a few decades, for example, India has progressed in terms of creating environment for attracting FDIs and also indeed getting FDIs on ground. But what is missing is these opportunities that we have, they are much higher than what actually really being achieved.
Okay.
And if we think, what do the investor expect? Investments will come if there are certain prerequisites which are met by the country. Let me give one example. What happened a couple of years ago? That government did a fantastic step of bundling all so many different taxations into one GST.
Right.
A step which was welcomed by one and all in India and outside India. I think it was a fantastic step. And we have seen that it has really made a huge step forward of ease of doing business in India. And I think what we need is a few more such reforms. I don't have to say which reforms. We all know by heart. And these reforms also government is aware and they are working on it, which will further improve ease of doing business. And that will do the job. I'm very confident that more and more investments will come to India, like they have been coming also in past. The question is only one: how fast? How fast that we can get these investments. It's not about COVID-19. It's about the opportunities that lie here in India and how do we really make use of. If we speak about demand, it's not enough that we cater to only the demand in India. We also look at the demand of global world. They all really expect from India. They have a high expectation from India to contribute. And that will really help us come back, now that we are in COVID-19 situation, come back faster to the normal GDP growth numbers. If I talk about Festo, since you asked also about Festo, Festo never waited for any of such government reforms or situations. As I told you earlier, that we were really early comers here in India. And Festo is a global organization by nature. Also in India, we started much earlier and we have been investing and reinvesting always ahead of times. And we will continue investing also going forward very strongly because well, the vision of our owners and their confidence in India and its economy and its people. So we are not looking back.
Right. And I remember, Mr. Joshi, also you had mentioned earlier that there are Festo here in India is also developing as a sort of a center of excellence where certain products are there which you are manufacturing only in India and supplying globally also. So do you see that trend increasing also, Mr. Joshi?
Yes. So I think what we have been doing all these decades was, of course, manufacturing in India and supplying to the global world. And this is also increasing. But what we have also added in last years is the development center. the engineering backup. So what we do in India is design to manufacture. It is not just another product which is perhaps developed elsewhere in the world and we manufacture here,
Right.
but we look at the customer requirement anywhere in this world, develop the product for manufacturing in India.
Right.
So we have procurement function, we have engineering function, we have manufacturing. And all these put together can contribute the best technology product at the most reasonable cost.
Right, right, right. Um, Mr. Joshi, you are quite optimistic about the Indian market, the development of the manufacturing industry in India. Now, we had the results for the quarter coming out last week, Mr. Joshi, and India GDP, we had a contraction of almost about 24%. And if we look at, I think it was amongst the developed and developing nations or among the major economies, this was one of the sharpest dip what we saw. Now, what I would like to have your opinion, Mr. Joshi, did you expect that first the dip would be so severe? And in your opinion, when can we expect a recovery? And what is actually going to trigger this recovery? How is this recovery? How are we going to really reboot our industry or the economy, Mr. Joshi?
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry, it's 2 or 3 questions
I
bundled
know, no,
together.
I made some notes, so I think,
Yeah.
and they are all very interrelated, so I can understand this. So your first question, what I understand, is whether this huge dip in GDP in the economy was expected.
Expected, right.
Well, the simple answer is no. But if we really look at why this such a massive dip, which is again historical and it's too large, I think it is around 23-24%
Yes.
for the quarter. We know that this was mainly due to the prolonged lockdown. It was a severe lockdown. All the businesses across the country were closed. We all were sitting home. I know some of the industry colleagues told me that in the month of April, they did not write or they did not generate even one single invoice.
Right.
It was so severe, unprecedented. So, of course, we did not know this in advance, but that it is 23-24% negative is not to be, it is not surprising. I mean, we knew that businesses were not working.
Right.
But if we really look at who knew about pandemic itself was a surprise, and its severity, none of us knew it.
Right.
So if you ask me, it's something not surprising, and none of us, we knew. But let us look at the positive. It's all over. I think since June, well, we suffered 8 weeks, but since June now, businesses are opening up. Slowly, they are getting back into action. The only unfortunate thing is it is a little too slow, and people are still suffering. Well, that is the first part of your question. The answer to. And now if I look at the second part about recovery. Right. If we really look at India came down very hard with lockdown, unlike any other country for that matter. And this probably helped to avoid any disaster, to avoid that people panicked. To see that we had enough infrastructure created during the lockdown period, etc., etc. So I think it helped, and it also helped avoid infections. But what it did is practically it delayed the increase of infections.
Right.
Now we see that infections are increasing. We are nearly touching 100,000 new infections a day.
Right.
So I think on one hand, we controlled infections through lockdown, but it also delayed the infection. What the world has already gone through, we are going through now.
Yes, that's right.
And I think it will need another couple of months to reach, probably, I hope I'll be right and it'll not go further, that we will reach the peak and then the number of infections, new infections will taper down.
Yeah.
Now that the situation is all because of COVID-19 and infections, you asked for
Yes, the recovery, how do we expect the
yeah,
recovery
so
and when do we
which
expect
would be the drivers, which would be the triggering points?
Right.
One triggering point, to my opinion, which is but natural, most important, is the number of new infections. They have to go down.
Good. Right.
The root cause is that, and I think that has to go down. I would not, as of now, speak about demand creation, etc., etc. First, that has to be solved. On the other hand, the government is announcing stimulus packages. I think that also is a good trigger. That is also a good driver that businesses will get help and they will also get confidence
Right.
to come back into action. And then, of course, there are some other, local topics in every country. For example, for India, opening of borders. Last unlock 4.0 or whatever it was, they announced that now the borders are open.
Yes.
Interstate movements can be easily made.
Right.
Even the government is now starting more and more trains so that people can travel. The lifeline of our country, the
Right.
metro starting, etc. So transport facility, people have to move. They
Right.
have to go back to their work. All these, to my opinion, are trigger points for the industries to come back into action and thereby lead the economy slowly come onto the tracks.
Right. 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 And Mr. Joshi, when can we really expect that economy will be back on track? What, in your opinion, when do you think this would be possible?
Well, I think our opinions will be all based on our hope,
Okay.
not on the facts or not on any knowledge or experience. And because our opinion is based on hope, I am hopeful that the businesses will gradually come back to normal, possibly in Q2 of 2021. In
Okay.
case of India in specific, I can say.
Right.
And whether you want to be dependent on the vaccine which would come out in the market or not, there will be internal push from
Right.
within the economy, which
Right.
will really make the economy to restart.
Right. 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 I think very good insights, Mr. Joshi. Thank you so much for these insights. Mr. Joshi, with so many unforeseen factors colliding all at once, it is quite a challenge for CEOs to chart a way forward as we are all in the stormy waters. How do you actually navigate the boat in the stormy waters? So that is what we would like you to share 2 or 3 tips for the CEOs of the German companies and for our viewers, Mr. Joshi. How can a CEO navigate his boat in these unprecedented, unforeseen circumstances, Mr. Joshi?
Yes. Well, I think every CEO will have his own levers, which he will use and push. I can think of some common topics in business because as CEO, how do you or which are the most important, let me say, gauges or dials that you have an eye on. I can imagine in business, the first thing, especially in COVID situation, because the money movement has been very tough.
Yes.
So to my opinion, the very first thing one must do is take a very good care of your finance, cash flow.
Yeah, right.
This is required not really in a selfish sense, but this is very much required so that one can take care of employees, suppliers, and even customers.
Right.
This will also avoid that the organization gets into panic mode. So I
Right.
think having good liquidity situation
Yeah.
is the minimum one has to have. Another thing which is most important for any business, irrespective of times, is the people.
Right.
And we all know not only the organizations, but also the people, the employees and their families are going through difficult times. And I think we all need to think in a solidarity way and say, take good care of your employees. That will go a long way. Also use this time to train employees and to develop them. I think this is also a good utilization of situation, I can imagine. Often people panic, so ensure that a good amount of communication is made within the organization with positivity. You know?
Right.
That's what people expect.
Right.
I can also imagine utilizing time looking inward and looking outward. So challenge the way business is done, challenge the existing processes, challenge the business model to think out of the box and use the leadership team to do this. What are the new ways of doing business? Which new markets we can think of, new applications, depending on, of course, product line, etc. So yeah, on one hand, utilize time to remodel, if required, the business.
Right. Right. Yeah, I think very valid points, Mr. Joshi, especially keeping the people, the employees, interest of the employees as the centerpiece, and then looking around how business can be, as you mentioned, think out of the box, look at new applications, look at new markets, look at new ways of doing business. As I think we are also talking of new ways of working, work from home, and the new normal as we talk about, Mr. Joshi.
That's right. The only question is, it's very interesting. We all talk about new normal.
Yeah.
Some new normals will have to be pushed by us, will have to be established by us.
Right.
And some other new normals, we will have to wait and watch and see what that means.
Right. Mr. Joshi, it's been an absolute pleasure discussing with you and interacting with you. And thank you for your insights and the positivity. I think that was one of the very important aspects I could feel as the positive messages that you have sent out. Despite of the times being challenging, we are, as we all know, we are seeing perhaps it will be in our lifetime, Mr. Joshi. I hope we don't see such challenging times again. Under these circumstances, I think positivity is one of the very important factors that CEOs can bring a positive message. As you rightly said, to keep the employees also, I think, motivated. Such positivity is required in these circumstances. So thank you very much for sparing your time and interacting with us, Mr. Joshi. On behalf of the German Engineering Federation, wishing you, your team, and Festo further success in the Indian market. And let's hope that the Indian industry reboots fast and we are back on track with the GDP growth that is so much essential for India, for the employability of India, and for this young population of our country. So thank you very much, Mr. Joshi.
Nishnath, from Festo side, I would like to thank you and VDMA. I think you're doing a wonderful job of using this platform to exchange information amongst CEOs and companies, members of VDMA. It's an excellent platform. We are also benefiting from it, and I hope others will do the same. Thank you very much.
Right.
And all the best.
Thank you, Mr. Joshi. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.